The Russia-Ukraine war just took a dramatic and unprecedented turn. NATO airspace has been breached after Russia launched a massive drone incursion not only into Ukraine, but further west into Poland. What happens next could change the tone of this conflict enormously in the days and weeks to come. The incident occurred in the early hours of Wednesday, September 10. Russia, as it so often does, launched an aerial assault on Ukraine, sending numerous waves of strike drones from various positions over the border. There's nothing new or shocking about this, since it happens so often. Indeed, only days ago, in the early hours of September 7, Russia yet again broke its previous record and launched the largest mass aerial attack on Ukraine since the war began. It sent a total of over 800 drones, decoys and missiles towards targets all across the country, resulting in the deaths of at least 4 people and damages to residential buildings and even a government building in Kyiv. But the September 10 attack was different, because some of the drones didn't stop in Kyiv or any other Ukrainian town or city. They kept going, heading further and further west, and at 1 AM local time, Ukrainian monitors confirmed that some of Russia's Shahid drones had officially passed over the border and into Poland, officially entering NATO airspace. The rest of the attack continued more or less as normal, with drones and missiles striking targets across Ukraine. Explosions rang out in numerous regions and cities, including the capital of Kyiv, as well as Lviv, Lutsk, Kalush and other regions. In Vinnytsia, various industrial facilities were hit, but fortunately no casualties were reported. In the Zhytomyr region, 1 person died after Russian weapons struck civilian businesses and homes. Vitaly Bunechko, governor of the region, reported the situation on Telegram. Today, during a combined air attack, the enemy struck the territory of Zhytomyr region using kamikaze drones and cruise missiles. As a result of the strikes, 1 person was killed and another was injured. Several civilian enterprises and private homes were damaged. The elimination of the consequences is ongoing. Damage was also incurred in the Cherkasy region, where air defenses brought down several drones and missiles, but blast damage was reported to local homes, power lines and livestock. But it was over the border in Poland where the most dramatic aspect of the story unfolded. As the drones began to leave Ukraine and pass into Poland, Ukrainian monitors issued warning calls across online channels, writing in Polish and urging people near the border to head to their shelters right away. Fortunately, the Polish armed forces were prepared, and Poland, in general, has been leading the way across Europe when it comes to conflict readiness and military modernization in recent times. The country has invested heavily in defenses, fortified its borders, bolstered its armed forces, and gone above and beyond with procurement and preparation, anticipating a possible conflict with Russia in the not-so-distant future. Poland has also invested heavily in its East Shield project, which involves setting up a mixture of physical barriers and mostly automated border defense systems along its eastern flank, which should make it significantly harder for any invading forces to break through the border lines. Donald Tusk, the Polish Prime Minister, sent a clear message when asked about the intentions of this project. "We'll make the Polish border secure in peacetime and impassable for the enemy in wartime. We do this to deter the enemy, so that all those who wish Poland ill, all those who plan an attack and aggression against our allies or against our country, stay away from Poland. Poland is strong. Poland will be safe thanks to its own actions and thanks to its own allies." On top of all that, Poland has been scrambling fighter jets on a regular basis, proving that it's ready, willing and able to strike back at Russia should the Kremlin make the bold decision to attack. Given all of this, it's no surprise that the Polish armed forces were, thankfully, able to quickly detect the enemy drones. The country's alert status fighters were scrambled in an instant, air defense systems came online, and radar systems activated to guide Polish and Allied warplanes as they engaged and wiped out the Russian UAVs. Fellow NATO member, the Netherlands, reportedly helped out, involving its own F-35.
The night skies over Eastern Europe shimmered with an unease that few could ignore. On the borderlands of Poland, where farmlands stretch endlessly into the horizon, faint sirens pierced the silence. Reports began to pour in from NATO intelligence channels. A possible Russian drone incursion was imminent. The target? Critical infrastructure near the Polish border. For months, Russia had been escalating its hybrid warfare strategy, relying heavily on unmanned aerial vehicles, drones of various sizes, from the Iranian-made Shahed-136 to domestically modified Orlan surveillance units. But this night felt different. This wasn't a mere reconnaissance mission or a limited strike. Intelligence suggested something larger, more coordinated, and far more dangerous. Polish air defense crews were already on high alert. In Warsaw's military command center, screens flickered with live feeds from radars, satellites, and ground observation units. Each blip on the radar could mean disaster. At 23:45 local time, the first wave of drones crossed from Belarusian airspace into Polish territory. The incursion had begun. The drones came in low, weaving through valleys and forests, trying to evade detection. They carried a variety of payloads, some with explosives, others meant for surveillance and electronic warfare. Polish defenses responded immediately. Anti-aircraft batteries lit up the night sky. Mobile Patriot missile systems launched interceptors, streaking across the darkness in fiery arcs. But the sheer number of drones overwhelmed the first line of defense. By midnight, several drones had penetrated deep into Polish territory, heading straight for rail junctions and energy storage facilities, lifelines that supplied Ukraine with weapons and humanitarian aid. If those were destroyed, it would not just cripple Ukraine's war effort but also test NATO's resolve in defending its own territory. Inside the NATO airbase at Rzeszów, just miles from Ukraine's border, American F-16s and British Eurofighter Typhoons were scrambled into the air. Their mission was clear: intercept and neutralize any airborne threats. Pilots streaked across the sky, locking onto hostile drones, unleashing missiles and cannons. One by one, drones exploded midair, raining fiery debris onto fields below. Farmers and villagers awoke in terror, watching the battle unfold above their homes. Meanwhile, in Brussels, NATO's Emergency Council was convened. Article 5, the Collective Defense Clause, wasn't yet invoked, but the discussion was heated. Poland's Prime Minister declared, "This is not just an attack on Poland. This is an attack on NATO." The world held its breath. Would this drone incursion be the trigger that pulled NATO directly into war with Russia? As the night raged on, more waves of drones poured across the border. Some were intercepted, but others slipped through. Explosions rocked an electrical substation near Lublin. A railway hub carrying ammunition to Ukraine was struck, sending